official.
It was the official time. All right.
Right.
All right.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll make a motion to approve the May 13th regular meeting minutes.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Well, that was simple enough. Announcements. The Select Board will meet on the following dates at 5 p.m. Monday, June 10th, Monday, June 24th. Reminder, I will not be available for either of those.
Okay.
Citizens wishing to be listed on the Select Board's agenda should notify Town Hall before noon the Thursday before the scheduled meeting. All meetings are held here in Town Hall and will be held by Zoom. Zoom information can be found on the town's website at plymouthnh.gov. We will have a public hearing a little bit later at 5:15, but we'll hold off on that for right now and do the town manager's report.
Thank you. Quite a few things this week, but we'll get through before 5:15. Tax collector update. This is just as a reminder, taxpayer assistance for low and moderate income homeowners, property tax relief through the New Hampshire Department of Revenue Administration program. Submissions must be made between May 1st and June 30th. Interested parties should contact the tax collector for additional information and assistance in applying. Plymouth Rotary Club Visionary Sessions will be held on June 13th and June 15th at the Plymouth Senior Center at 6 p.m. All interested parties are urged to attend to let the Rotary know what you think are the most important needs, issues that we face in Plymouth and surrounding communities, both now and over the next 5 years. Give Rotary an idea of a project that they could support.
Scott, I think the 15th is going to be at the high school.
Thank you. I think you are correct, Bill. I think that's in the Bobcat Cafe at the high school.
Yeah.
So both 13th and 15th are at the high school?
No, 13th is at the senior center.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Annual heating oil and propane RFP. Ann has prepared and sent out the annual RFP for pricing for heating oil and propane. Excuse me, the proposals are due back on August 13th. Currently, we're paying $1.52 for propane and $3.42 for heating oil.
Pretty good.
Housing Opportunity Project. There was a housing community meeting scheduled for Monday, June 3rd, next Monday, at the Bob Cafe at Plymouth Regional High School at 6:30. Join the Plymouth Planning Board and Housing Committee for project updates, group discussions, and additional opportunities for input regarding Plymouth housing needs. Parts, Recycling, and Highway Department. I want to take this opportunity to thank the 3 departments for the work completed on the monuments at Town Hall in preparation of Memorial Day. The bushes were removed around the tallest monument, and the monuments were power washed in preparation. Thank you to Robert, Steve, and Jim for coordinating this effort. HVAC system update. The work on the HVAC system that was approved back during the winter will start on Wednesday, May 29th. They were here today doing a little prep work, but tomorrow the majority of the work will take place. Jesse has been working with the contractor. It should take about 10 days for the process to be completed for the HVAC, air conditioning, water chiller, and baseboard heat down in the main section of Town Hall. Recycling Center hours. As a reminder, the new hours for the Recycling Center were implemented on Monday, May 20th. Monday, Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday, 8 to 4 p.m. Sunday, 7 to 3:30 p.m. Closed on Wednesday, Thursday, and holidays.
Any feedback from the community on that change? Have we heard anything?
Only from one person who advised he doesn't watch the town meetings, he doesn't look at any town communications, and he wasn't told specifically that this was happening. But only one person.
We'll take it.
Dog park, as I mentioned back on our meeting on May 13th, the New Hampshire Realtors are looking to provide funding for a dog park in Plymouth. I've reviewed a couple locations with Robert Cormier and really looking for the Select Board's thoughts on a location. We did go out to where the solar array is being developed, And there is a field out behind the solar array where Lisa Donor has a university project going on out there through 2026, so I don't really think that's a great location. Plus, we'd have to do some work on the roadway to get out there. We've looked at Fox Park. There's a small field off of the parking area, which is right adjacent to the living quarters up at Pine Gate Village, which I'm not sure is a great idea to put a park there. So we're still trying to research and find other locations at this time. We really are kind of at a standstill in finding another location. So we will continue to look, and I do have a meeting with Alex Ray with regards to the property down next to the Baker River beyond the Armory. He's looking to put some playing fields and things down there, so that might be a possible location. Job posting, Finance and Human Resource Assistant. This is Colleen's position, as she will be retiring in August. The position was advertised last week, and we have started to receive cover letters and resumes. We are in hopes to interview during the month of June and have a new person in place by July 1st to work with Colleen during the month of July.
It's a select board.
Pemi Valley Chapter of New England Mountain Bike Association. The town of Plymouth currently has a memorandum of understanding in place with the Pemi Valley New England Mountain Bike Association for the trails that have been constructed at Fox Park. The memorandum has been in place since 2017, signed by both this group as well as the Board of Selectmen at that time, and is renewable annually unless either party puts in writing notice to terminate the memorandum. They are looking to expand the trails to include small and medium pump track at no expense to the town. I've spoken with Robert Cormier, the parks manager, who has met with this group and has no reservation about the proposed addition. It would just be adjacent to the trails that they already have in place at Fox Park. And I was able to look at the memorandum of understanding, and I think everything is fine in allowing them to move forward with what they want to do with the small and medium pump track, which used to actually be down by the skateboard park, but was discontinued when the skateboard park was put in, and now they have some funds that they want to expend on Fox Park in doing this up there. So with your permission, I would like to give them the go-ahead to start constructing under Robert's guidance.
I love it.
Okay? The PSNH mediation hearing that was held on May 22nd, I did attend the mediation hearing. I was in the hearing from 8 till 1 o'clock. I'd like to go into non-public at the end of the public session of the meeting under RSA 91A semicolon 3(2)E to talk about a settlement under litigation and lawsuits. Plymouth State University update. I met with Jessica Dutow from Plymouth State University for our monthly meeting on Monday, May 20th. We discussed the upcoming university freshman orientation taking place in June. I will be providing a welcome and a portion on being a responsible community member. Silver Hall parking lots. As a reminder, the town of Plymouth and Plymouth State University have entered into a memorandum of understanding for the use of Silver Hall parking lots during the period of May 15th through August 21st, 2024. We have communicated this information, have signs in place as we did last summer, in hopes that this will once again assist downtown parking during construction this summer. Downtown drainage project updates. The first section, Warren and Russell, we've talked about that. That has the binder coat down. The second section, Warren to Highland, that was boxed out. It was put a binder coat of pavement down last Thursday, and the road was swept on Friday morning, as well as 2 crosswalks being put in place. The rebuilding of the sidewalks started today on the west side of the roadway. That should take about 2 weeks to complete with the sidewalks and the curbing. They'll move to the east side of the roadway and construct the sidewalks and curbing on that, as well as installation of the parking meters. Then they're going to bump up to Russell Street and reconstruct the sidewalk on Russell Street. And then they'll move back down to Main Street and box out and binder coat and sidewalks on Highland to the roundabout. Mary Ann, excuse me, Mary Ann had asked some questions about the sidewalk on Main Street from Yarmouth down to the roundabout. I did speak with Tom Grenice today. What their plan is to cut those, so the patches that you see in place today will be expanded by a foot on each side and a foot to the front and the rear. They will regrade that, and that sidewalk will be put in with final coat of pavement to meet the current grade. So that was his update today.
Thank you.
And that really concludes my report, unless there's any questions, concerns, or comments.
Nope. None from me. 5:11. All right, well, we can probably do this appointment.
Make a motion that we reappoint Lisa Donner to the Local River Management Advisory Committee.
That's great. I'll second that.
Do we have the official here somewhere? This one's the official. All right, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That didn't take a lot of time. Are either of these purchase orders shorthand or no?
No,
Got anything in the signature file you want to circulate?
it's huge.
All right, so
Sorry.
Trying.
on that as well.
I mean, I could start if you want me to, and then, how many
We
minutes?
can take we have 3 minutes.
Okay. All right. So I have an intent to cut timber. This is on Chason Road. It's a 15.6 acre lot with 10 acres of it being cut. I have a report of cut yield taxes. This is for property 19 Loon Lake Road. The warrant is for $133.25. We have an excavation tax assessment, again for Loon Lake Road. Total tax $13 for the year. Tell me when to stop, okay? Okay. I have a prorated assessment abatement for 15 Mott's Place. There was a fire at the mobile home on March 23rd, 24, so we are abating $17.02 for those few days. (2024A), another abatement. This is for Public Service of New Hampshire. They should not have been billed the state school tax, so we need to abate that amount.
Let's see.
2 different spots in that one.
I know. I'm trying to find the first spot.
The next one is for an abatement application that came in for 9 LaCourse Street.
Interesting.
It is recommended by the assessors that the abatement be denied. All of these are denials from here forward that I have with me.
You probably want to hold on that one.
Okay.
through these. All right, with that, let's open a public hearing at 5:15. This is a public hearing in accordance with RSA 231, 157 through 189, scenic roadways. Plymouth Select Board's holding a public hearing. This hearing will be for the purpose of discussing and taking public comment for the removal of a tree and realignment of ditch lines for road maintenance of a scenic roadway within the town of Plymouth. The roadway is known as Old Hebron Road. The public is encouraged to attend. We do have,
fact, Joe is here just to talk about what his plan is as far as the ditching and the reason that he'd
Okay,
like to have the
perfect.
tree removed. That's
So-
another support.
yep, so I'll read this after we get, Joe, do you want to tell us about the project?
So on Old Hebron at 280, there's an oak tree there that the top of it, like the whole tree is pretty dead. It's not healthy, so it's a public hazard to start with. And that road, we spent a lot of years chasing the gravel around at the top of the hill. The ditch line comes down and it ends right at that tree. The ditch line can't get around it, and so by removing that tree, we can fix that ditch line and try to salvage our road and put it back where it needs to be. And so basically, that's what it is. So when the rain gets heavy, it also sometimes, instead of just going around a tree, it shoots across the street, which raises havoc with the people next door. It actually runs right out in their field. So it'll serve as a good purpose to, it's sad to see it go, but it serves as a good purpose to take it down for safety reasons and move forward with fixing our road.
Okay.
Where exactly is the tree? Is it up beyond the Favres, if you're going?
So if you come up Reservoir Road on New Hebron, it's
Yep.
right at the top of the hill. It's what they call the Twin Oaks. So it's one of them.
Is there anybody opposed to this?
No, I mean, the few people that I talked to out there didn't seem to have an issue, and so that's why I'm here, to make sure I brought it to the public, so.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
Is there any concern because it's a scenic road?
Yeah, because it's scenic, we can't cut trees over a certain size, like 8 inches. And so, in the bylaws, that's what was read, so we'll have to go to the public and get input and.
Gotcha.
That's why we're having a public hearing, for that reason.
As opposed to just cutting it like we
Yep.
normally would
And
do.
we don't have to inform any other agency or?
I do have one public comment here from a Jean Ronikier from 265 Old Hebron Road. It says, as a 28-year resident on Old Hebron Road, I would like to totally endorse the proposed removal of the tree identified and drainage ditch improvements. My home at 265 is close to the area, and by removing the tree, vehicle flow will be improved. Please do it. So, one supporting letter. And if we don't have any questions for Joe, is there any public comment on the tree removal?
If I may make a comment?
Yeah, please do.
Sit with me.
Thanks, Joe.
This is too bad to see it go. That tree must be, what, 30-inch diameter, Joe?
Yeah.
And it is, with traffic you have today, the size of equipment the town has, I hate to say it, but it should come down so they can ditch. Joe's absolutely right. That tree should come down, and many others on Old Hebron and New Hebron. Somebody's gonna get hurt with liability, with broken limbs, and this brings to mind to me of an accident that happened probably 12, 15 years ago on Kangamangas. A group of people stopped at a rest area, and there was a dead tree in the parking area. The limb broke off and killed the person. This could happen here. We got a couple right on New Hebron Road. You know, the ones I'm talking about, those big maples down by Henry's. They're ribbon. Are those gonna come down?
There's 2 up there that are
Okay. So, I say come down. When you see the trees that are being hit with wings, when you're plowing snow, we aren't running a 1.5 ton Ford anymore. We're running larger equipment, and it's hard on equipment. You break your wings, you bend a frame. I hate to say it, but I am in favor to take that tree down. If that tree could talk, it could tell a lot of history. So I guess sometimes we got to progress a little bit. That's all I've got to say in the positive, and I have no axe to grind, but I think the highway department, what they've got to work with for manpower, I think they're doing a good job. So I told Joe, he does too good a job, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Could you also identify yourself for the record, please?
What's that?
Could you identify yourself for the record?
Oh, Bill Noyce, 41 New Hebron Road. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think at this point, I'm gonna go home and have supper.
You're excused.
We're jealous.
I don't see anybody on Zoom.
No.
No other public comment? We'll close the public hearing at 5:22. I assume we need a motion and vote on this?
Please.
I'll make a motion that we approve the removal of the described tree and realignment of ditch lines for road maintenance on Old Hebron Road.
I'm not seconding that one.
I'll second.
Got too many people out there.
Any discussion about the removal of the tree? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Careful which ones you sign there, Neil.
Yeah, there, Neil, there's a few,
Got my
you-
name? Oh,
Does, yeah.
I just did.
there's 2 of them that he can't sign.
What he just did.
Okay, well, as long as I have a majority of the rest of the board, I'll be all set.
Have to scratch it out. Put some white out on it.
You
Did I
voted.
call a vote?
You did.
We all vote for it?
Did.
Oh, all right, good.
You stayed up too late this time.
Clearly.
I know.
Ambrose Brothers bid for New Hebron Road. This is for New Hebron Road paving to include pavement reclaiming, a new drainage system, and roadside swales required to reconstruct roadway to current town standards.
So I did put a summary of the bid opening. I think that's what you have in
It's in here?
that folder, Zach.
Ah, yes.
Joe is here to discuss that as well.
So it looks like we opened bids on May 9th. We had 2 bids, one from Ambrose Construction for the amount specified here in the agenda of $296,196.41, and then also from Jeremy Hiltz for $454,172.
Joe, we had 200 and, how much did we have in the budget for this road? Do you remember? Was it 300,000?
We have,
Perfect. Just under budget. I've got a bunch of information here, but I'm not going to read all of it. Anything that I can pull from the docs or that Joe can answer for the board? Mike Vignali is recommending that we move forward with Ambrose.
Make a motion that we approve the bid to repave New Hebron Road, including the drainage system and roadside swales, for the sum of $296,196.41.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just curious, Joe, how long will this project take, roughly?
We probably won't start till the beginning of July or so. It probably will take about 2 to 3 weeks.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? These two things get mixed together. It's just informational, I think. Or actually, that one. Does this need to go back? Do you need this back in this packet? I think you do.
Yeah, I'll just take it all back when you're done. Just, yeah.
Okay. That takes us to Plymouth and Horn Electric. Shutter mount exhaust fan and installation of fan and duct work and wiring to be done. Scott, do you want to introduce
Sure.
this?
This was appropriated in the 23-24 budget in the CIP. The amount that had been appropriated in the CIP was $60,000. Joe had been working on this for a number of months and trying to get a couple different vendors to quote on the exhaust fan system. Unfortunately, fortunately enough, Plymouth did provide a quote. We had to work with Plymouth Fire Department because this is the same company that they use at the fire department for the diesel exhaust system that they have there. So the quote came in for 2 different pieces of the system, one for the main shop area and then over where the mechanics section is, where they do welding and etc. And then we went out and looked for an electrician to provide the electrical wiring system for this. We received 2 bids back, one from Horn Electric at $4,500 and one from Hutchinson Electric for $7,500. So we selected to go with Horn Electric because his price came in as will not exceed $4,500 to do the system. So looking at all 3 parts of this is $23,765, which is far below the amount that was appropriated for the work to be done.
So we budgeted 60,000?
We put $60,000 in the CIP, and in the 23-24 budget, there's actually $85,000 in this line for building repairs, which was part of this system. So there'll be a significant amount of money left after this is installed and
And the reason that we had originally budgeted 60,000 was because that's what it cost the fire department when they put in their system, not knowing where we were gonna go with the highway department. So that's why that amount was so high.
Good that we have leftovers.
Good to have leftovers. That's right.
It is, yeah. So did Mochley Electric not submit a quote, or is that one? Is it
These were the only two quotes that we received, is my understanding.
There's one person we did not hear back.
Oh, okay, so they came in and looked at it, but they didn't. Gotcha. Why do we have two different companies on one purchase order? Is that
One project.
Because it's one project.
there's one project?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve the Plymouth Vent Home and Electric Shutter Mount Exhaust Fan for $8,640 and installation of the fan and ductwork for $10,625, with the wiring done by Horn Electric for a sum of $4,500. Grand total is $23,765.
Second.
Any discussion?
So, one, how come we can, is this a special, type of work, why we can only get Plymouth?
Exactly. It's specialized companies that do the diesel exhaust.
Okay.
For the purpose of fire departments, highway garages, those types of systems that have positive ventilation to get the fumes out.
And this is the only place,
It's the only one that we could get a call back from.
and that's who the fire department used, or?
That is correct. And that's how we actually got the call back, is Joe had reached out to the fire department to say, hey, can you help us get them back in contact with us? Which they did, and they came, they met with Joe, they provided the schematics of the system that's gonna be installed, and that's how we moved forward with Plymouth Vent.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? There's that. That takes us to a review of the Select Board strategic priorities.
Before you start that, can we just, I had asked Joe, or we had asked Joe to come tonight because we were also gonna talk about Crescent Street, except Chris could not show up, so I don't know if you need Joe any further.
Chris wasn't able to be here tonight, so he's planning on attending the June 10th meeting. And I have spoken with Harry and Dale Blackie today to advise them that it wasn't gonna be discussed tonight, it would be discussed on June 10th, when Chris could be present, and they will attend that meeting on June 10th.
You're done unless you want us to.
I will add that I did watch the planning board, was it planning board?
Yeah.
Video
Yeah,
live for 3 hours.
you watched the whole thing. Good for
I
you.
joined you.
If you wait till the next day, you can watch it at like 1.2x.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Save yourself.
I had somebody else in the house that wanted to watch it. I'm like, okay, if you're sure.
Good night.
I have a much better perspective now on what's going on.
Strategic priorities?
Want me to just give an overview?
Yeah, wanna
of
give an
where
overview?
it's at? Okay. So, these are the strategic priorities that we put in place just over a year ago with regards to what the board was thinking about for 2023 and into 2024. And the first one was to improve organizational effectiveness. We continue to review operations and positions for efficiency purposes. We have department head meetings once a quarter to discuss quite a few items with regards to personnel, with regards to training, with regards to operations, with regards to policies and procedures. One other thing that we're putting in place now, even though we do follow the records retention disposition of retention schedule that RSA 33A3 outlines. I will be having a records retention and destruction policy coming in front of the board in July. That will include the disposition, retention, and destruction schedule, but I think it's a good idea that we have a policy that we're following, because if you've ever been down in the basement, you can see that we probably haven't been as diligent as we should have been in the destruction of records and keeping what is required under this schedule under RSA 33A3A. So that's coming forth.
So how are we, probably too much detail, how are we actually gonna implement what's down there currently that we are pretty sure it's past retention?
That's going to be a project that Jesse takes on,
Okay.
that he and I have discussed on how we're going to clean that up. Will it all happen at once? Probably not, but it will happen over time.
Doesn't the RSA also specify that you have to have like a retention group or whatever and meet and
We
for?
will. We'll have a committee. We'll have a records retention committee that typically in most towns is led by the town clerk, because they are ones responsible for that. And then there's different positions. I don't have it in front of me tonight. I sent it on to John Radigan today for his guidance and edits, and then I was going to bring it to you. But we will have a committee that oversees that process.
Because if the committee doesn't meet and identify an actual retention schedule, then we have to keep it forever. I don't think we want to do all that, but.
Moving on to enhanced community engagement. Since this was put in place, we've developed the newsletter, which is sent out weekly. We've enhanced what we're doing on social media, as well as what Dan and Jonathan are doing through PBTV with regards to different community groups, nonprofits, on getting their information out. I think one thing that we've done is truly communicated transparency, honesty, and openness, and really stuck by our values and missions on how we conduct ourselves as town employees each and every day. Financial and economic
I'm
stability.
sorry, Scott, could I?
Yeah,
So
no,
do
no,
we know,
please.
have any counts, like how many people receive your weekly emails? How many people hit the website, views on PBTV?
We do. I don't know if Dan has those readily available tonight, but we do have those numbers
Okay.
that go out, and we can, speaking of Dan, wow, it came out of nowhere, Dan.
Good timing.
I don't have any update on the website, but right now the newsletter goes to 372 emails every week. We have had issues recently with the newsletter going to a lot of people's junk mail. That should have been rectified last week after doing some work with MailChimp. So that should be corrected. I've asked a few people that have had issues. It's gone to their regular mailbox now. So hopefully the open rate and the click rate will be higher than it has been in the last couple of months.
I think one thing we've done, Mary Ann, with regards to the Town of Plymouth Facebook page is both Dan and I, and Jonathan, I believe, have the ability to post on that. And we've done a lot more posting through social media, and we've gotten a lot more responses back from that as well. But I think we've enhanced our communications. Not that everybody reads them, not that everybody goes to the website, but I think we're doing our best to get the messaging out through several different platforms that we have access to.
Yeah, so I'll plan on having a report to Scott for the next meeting on all of the website traffic since the new website launched, all the Facebook traffic as well to go along with the newsletter. So you guys have a full view of what's going on.
What are we getting for typical views on the videos we post to PBTV, onto YouTube from PBTV?
Depends on the content of what's happening during the meetings, anywhere between 20 and 200. Again, we don't get anything from Charter Communications Spectrum. They don't offer that to us as public access, so we really don't know. I tell that to Scott all the time. It's hard to tell, but he gets word all the time that people are watching, so we just have to go by word of mouth in that case.
I just wish we had, and I have no idea, but how to get more people, engaged, even the recycling center and things like that. I don't know how to get more people.
The newsletter's been capped at about 370-ish, give or take one or two for the last 6 months. So we've kind of hit a plateau and haven't found more email addresses since then.
Right.
So we need to find some kind of way of educating the people that we're not getting it to, that it's available.
We should get a flyer about the newsletter on the bulletin board at the recycling center.
Something bigger than 8 by 10, something that's gonna
Right.
draw their attention,
Yeah. Because
maybe on legal
most
paper.
people pass through that facility.
Yeah. Telling them how they can sign up.
We could also plan to do some promotion of it at the next voting.
What about businesses on Main Street? Same type of poster, QR code type of thing?
Poster QR code kind of thing.
Yeah,
I think that's a good idea.
just
Yeah.
somewhere.
We know somebody has a business on Main Street, right?
Yeah, but I wouldn't. It's not a good
Gotta be careful.
representation.
Be careful of what you promote.
Yeah, this is true.
Yes, I can create a flyer that represents the newsletter with a QR code that goes directly to a sign-up page. That is the one that is on the town website currently. That links over and has all the archived ones that we've created, plus
Oh,
a place
excellent.
to sign up.
Love that, yeah.
Right.
I love it. I think that we're nailing the channels, you know?
Right,
Now it's
I
just
don't know how
figuring out how to
else.
get people into them.
Right. Right.
Can only put so much out there if people aren't going to open it.
Right.
Awesome.
That's great. Thanks, Dan.
Dan. Financial and economic stability. I think we, over the past year and a half, have enhanced our budget process, our capital improvement program. We've worked on tax deeded properties and have been successful. We've had the Housing Opportunity Committee that has worked diligently with regards to economic stability and trying to seek input from the community on housing opportunities. We worked on the ambulance billing and finally have come to a budget that is adequate for funding the ambulance and the billing that goes along with that with the 4 towns that we contract with. I think there's still things that we need to look at with regards to financial management, but we've done procurement, we've done purchasing, we've done contracting, we've done credit cards. So I think from a base model, we're where we should be from a financial liability perspective.
Do we have any feel for what the effect of Ashland moving away from our ambulance service is going to be?
Ashland is going to stay with us. I've been
Oh,
in negotiations with them
changed their
for
mind.
quite a few weeks now. We'll go into a different model with them because they've chosen to do what Campton did years ago before Campton Thornton went out on their own, is they're going to provide the service during the day from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Then Plymouth will take over at 5 p.m. to 7 or 8 a.m. the next morning. So with regards to that, the research I've done, we worked with them to say, okay, if you want to do that, we're fine in doing that, but we're going to charge you a $50,000 retainer fee to keep us on call for that period of time, which results in the losses that we saw in 2023. And because that's a year that is closed out, and then we will bill them every call $1,140 that we turn a wheel on. They will pay us on July 1st, $50,000 as the retainer fee, and then once a quarter, we will bill them and reconcile their account with them with regards to the amount of calls we've gone on and what is due at the end of that quarter. So we're made whole out of the service that we're providing, and then at the end of the year, like we'll do with every other town that we're with, after June of 2025, we will return to them the revenue that we've received from ambulance billing, which is about 38% of the 100% that we bill out. So that is going in front of their select board next Monday night, June 3rd, for signature.
Great.
But we've gone through that. The last 6 or 8 weeks, I've met with one of the newest selectmen, who is an attorney, Megan, who has been very good to work with in negotiating where they need to be that satisfies their needs, but also continues to make Plymouth whole in the ambulance service we provide to the town of Ashland.
Do we have any feel for what the financial impact of that difference will be? them not using us for
Yep.
what they
It will
were?
be, we will receive the same amount of funds as we would with regards to doing 12-hour coverage versus 24-hour coverage. So instead of 200, for example, instead of $240,000, we'll receive $143,000, but making us whole for every call that we on, plus recouping the loss as a retainer fee.
Okay.
So did we?
I mean, our carry cost doesn't change, so we're still taking in
Correct.
less revenue for
Correct.
the same cost.
Correct.
Yeah. And I mean, I assume we wouldn't downstaff because of one town's, 8 to 5.
We are still on a mutual aid as well. And Scott will be monitoring that to make sure that that is not abused.
In a year's time, their call volume is about 245 calls. For the hours that we just discussed, it's about 83 calls. So it's about 33% of the calls that we would have responded to.
So that seems like, from a billing perspective, we're not going to make half, we're going to make a third of what we were planning to charge them?
We're gonna make, we have the potential of making $144,000, where I don't know exactly what that number was on their initial contract, but I wanna say it was somewhere between 240 and 270.
So still a net budget impact of around 150,000
Right. Right.
for us?
Yep.
That take into account the $50,000 retainer, where's that?
That's including that, yes.
And did we change our fee? Or is it the same
The
fee?
fee is a fee that's a living document that changes based on the insurance companies and what the cost of service is. It doesn't change by a lot year over year, but it does change. And keeping in mind that if we bill the commercial insurers, Medicaid, Medicomp, at 100% of the 1140, let's just use that number, we're collecting 38 to 40% of that. That's where we were losing money with regards to each of these towns. Now we'll be collecting 100% of that and refunding them that 38% that we collected.
Sounds pretty good, actually.
Yeah. Yep. Right. If I was the town of Ashland, I don't think I would try to run a 9 to 5 ambulance service for $150,000, but good luck to them.
They do have per diem people on during the day currently.
So, maybe.
We'll still be there under mutual aid, but there's clauses under Lakes Region Mutual Fire Aid, the agreement that each town signs with regards to abuse of the mutual aid system, and we will monitor that just to make sure.
Yeah, I was thinking less about that. I was just more about just the cost of having an ambulance. Can't buy what's an ambulance cost?
We've had that conversation,
$1
and
million?
I think our next step is we have to look at what the capital is for the ambulance service and how we recoup a portion of that as well. This year, we tackled the operating budget.
Sure.
I think there's room for tackling the capital expenditures as well.
Especially when we have them clearly planned out and, there's no mystery to it.
Agreed. Community development, we're currently working on the cluster project with Plymouth State University. We've updated the zoning ordinance based on feedback through the HOP committee and town meeting vote. I think there's other things that people have raised as concerns with regards to planning and zoning that we've encouraged them to attend planning board meetings to talk about the different zoning districts that we have, what's allowed in those districts, and I would foresee in the upcoming years, we have some additional changes to the zoning ordinance as well, because I think we do have to be very attentive to development in the town of Plymouth and making sure that we're following the zoning ordinance, but we're accommodating developers to the best of our ability within the guidelines that we have. Because the last thing we want to do is turn developers away.
Can we retitle that section, community and economic development?
Sure.
I just feel like the word economic missing there is,
Yep, I will make that change. The next section is environmental sustainability and infrastructure. And something that we've done with regards to that is we did receive the road surface management study for back in '23. Joe will be presenting in June with regards to the sustainability of the infrastructure, with regards to road surface projects with a priority list and associated cost, as well as, I think one other thing that we've done that we've been good at is we've kept the capital improvement program in place, and we've been able to budget out 6 to 8 years. I know Joe will be taking a closer look at that for road surface infrastructure as we move forward into the 25-26 budget. One thing that we really hadn't looked at from an infrastructure perspective over the years was the facilities that we have, and really managing our facilities to the best of our ability with regards to several different pieces of that. And I will say, with Jesse coming on board in February, he has met with all of the department heads. He's done some work at each one of the departments, and will be having a budget for capital improvement under that program for infrastructure for our facilities that we have. Employee retention, we've looked at benefit packages, we've looked at training, we've looked at pay adjustments, and we've kept in line with the pay and classification study. We have created more of a, I would say, more of a comprehensive employee pool that now is attending benefit educations, looking at training, making sure that we're updating policies and procedures and opportunities for those. So with regards to the benefit educations that we did for our health insurance over the last couple of weeks, I think we had a total of about 25 employees that attended the benefit educations to learn the cost effectiveness and how to manage their health insurance effectively, which we've never had in the past. We were lucky if we got 1 or 2 to show up in the past.
So that wasn't mandatory?
What's that?
It wasn't mandatory?
It wasn't mandatory, but we did offer gift card raffles for the training.
So
under
you
our
were
wellness budget.
incentivizing people.
Right.
Incentivize. Joe's department received a couple of those gift cards with his staff attending. Downtown drainage project, I think we're working through that. You know, I think the good thing is our section of the project is going to be completely finished first. With the delays that Plymouth Village Water and Sewer have experienced with Highland Street down to the roundabout. But I think we've managed that well. We've kept on top of them. They've been very accommodating. And, you know, my hope is that by July 1st, our section of the project is completed, with the exception of the final pavement, which will take place all at one time. We have had discussions, I had discussions with Tom Grenice and GMI, the paving contractor. So when they're doing around the common here, the goal is to pave that at night, so we don't interrupt the traffic early in the morning coming to the businesses, or during the day, that will be done between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m. to get that paved as we move through that section.
That's great.
Have people that live downtown been noticed of this noise that they're gonna experience when that's gonna happen?
Not yet, because we haven't finalized that. We don't know the start date, number one, from Highland Street down to the roundabout. But Plymouth Village Water and Sewer will be communicating it out and delivering notices to doors on what the plan is for that construction phase. Grant availability, I think we now have an individual that we can work with, Tiffany Hammond. Like I said, we've submitted for several grants now. We're just waiting to hear. I was in touch with Senator Shaheen's office and Hassan's office today with regards to, they are reviewers of the grants that we have submitted. And they both acknowledged the emails today and the grants that we've submitted, and that they will be reviewing them. But the good news is we've made it to the appropriations committee phase of the grants. So, fingers crossed that things continue to move in that direction.
Will Tiffany continue to help with grants out of the goodness of her heart?
We're
or-
paying her.
We are.
We're paying her
Okay.
a fee to manage the grants
Okay.
and search out the grants and write the grants for us.
Is that fee expended out of the grant?
What's that?
Is that fee expended out of the grant?
It will be, yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
If there were community members that were interested in assisting on grants, are there opportunities for people in the community to research, find grants, and to do grant writing if they so chose? And would they need to coordinate with someone?
I would be very open to them researching and finding grants. Tiffany's track record is absolutely amazing with the money that she has sought out in grants for this year alone, about $14 million, and has been successful with that amount. So I hate to, not that we wouldn't be open to it, but I think until we see our track record with Tiffany, I think we ought to just give it a little bit more time. But I would not be, I mean, we've worked with Pam at the SAU office to seek out information on grants. But Tiffany, the minute we send her something, she's on it and responds back the next day, whether she thinks it's a viable grant. And there's a couple grants coming up that we'll be applying for before November.
No, I had a couple people ask me, and I figured,
I'd love to have a conversation with them and learn more, absolutely.
okay.
I don't want to turn anybody away. Any citizen that wants to volunteer some time and help out, I'm open to sitting down and having a conversation to see where they fit in our puzzle of putting grants together.
Are they looking to volunteer or be compensated?
At this particular junction, my understanding is this individual is looking to volunteer.
Okay.
Or willing to volunteer.
If you want, have them reach out, and I will definitely meet with them.
Fair enough.
Plymouth State University, we entered into the 2-year agreement. I think we've had further collaboration with them and involvement with regards to the different things that we're doing. They currently are just waiting for a call back from our assessors on properties that will be added to the tax roll. So they've reached out to the assessing department to say, we're going to start renting this property is going to be used for housing or something that they're charging rent for. So Emily is working with them to provide some additional information. Community partnerships, I think we've strengthened our relationship with the school system, SAU 48, Plymouth State University, and the neighboring communities that I try to meet with on a quarterly basis to see if there's things that we can work in collaboration on with regards to purchasing, with regards to equipment, with regards to services that might be better sought out with one or more of the communities participating in those items.
Would that include like purchases of oil and such, or? Oh, okay.
Price of oil, sweeping, road sweeping.
Yep.
Services that, if we work in collaboration and numbers have power in buying, is can we get better pricing, whether we're working with SAU 48, are we working with the town of Ashland, the town of Campton? How can we better collaborate with these towns to reduce some of the costs that we have for services that we all use for the same purpose?
So would we are we looking to take the lead in those?
I think it has to be a collaboration between all of the towns. I think I am happy to take the lead and throw these ideas out there to see if we can have a conversation that moves forth. And I mean, the hard part is in the Northeast. It's very territorial, and a lot of people don't want to give up their thoughts on what they currently have. But if you take a model from out in the Midwest or the South Atlantic coast, you'll see that communities work more collaboratively, and I know their county government and move in that direction. But I think we can take some of those lessons learned and apply them here in Plymouth to reduce some of the overhead costs that we currently have.
This is kind of like a leading question, apparently, but in the past, I tried to, get together with other towns and have a joint, like, select board meeting. Never happened. And I'm thinking like Lincoln Woodstock, periodically they do have like a joint meeting. And sometimes I'm thinking it might be a benefit, just to find out how things are going in their towns and what projects they're doing and how we can collaborate. But it's kind of up to the board, I guess, so.
Yeah, that's why I was curious, because it is difficult to get all those folks together and to agree, and do you have to, some board or something would need to be created for voting, and
I don't disagree, but one thing that we are reinstituting is that there always was an ambulance committee.
Yeah.
And that committee was made up with representation from the towns that we contracted with. That, under Chief Morrison's guidance, that will start back up again. And I think it's a way for transparency and with regards to having the discussion on what the associated costs are with running an ambulance service, what we're seeing for increases, what's the new equipment out there, but really having that collaboration with the 4 towns that we contract with and having semi-annual meetings to have those conversations. I think that's a start of getting back to where we used to be with our neighbors and being involved in those conversations and discussions. But I think we can do more with regards to that as well.
Chief Hutchins is also doing that with dispatch. He has reached out to all the surrounding towns that we service, and is having a meeting with them, to have a conversation saying, what does he like, what do you don't like, what can we do, what else do you need?
and that's the first time we've done that.
No, they've had those in the past. They haven't had one in a little while, but he has reached out, and he's always open for their suggestions as well.
I don't know why I'm thinking of that too, but so over at the county, they have the workstations for dispatch.
Yep.
They have both, desks that go up and down, and also a little foot thing, so they can walk while they're looking at their workstation.
I think we have the desks. I'm not sure about the.
Yeah, we got the desks early on, yeah.
We're
do both with
encouraging, I say we.
Like rub my
and
belly.
really encouraging Alex and Nate to really take a look at what upgrades are gonna be needed for our communications center. And those really should be part of our CIP plan as we move forward. So we'll be having that discussion over the next couple of weeks with the police department on what is the outlook, what do we need to do, what are the associated costs with dispatch based on the volume of calls that are coming in from our partners that we provide communication services to. So stay tuned on that, there'll be more to come.
I asked, initially there was going to be, I guess, a takeaway from the university system to do their own dispatch and communication with UNH.
Nope, they're staying with us.
Okay. Good.
So those are the updates I have with regards to the different pieces of the strategic priorities. If you have thoughts or considerations after our conversation tonight, if you want to email me anything that you have, and I'll be sure to include them, and we can review this again at a meeting in July when you're back, Zach.
Yeah, sounds good. And it sounds like there's a bunch of stuff in progress that some of these sections just could get edited to include, the stuff we're doing with community partnerships, stuff we're doing this year with Plymouth, that. I think
Sure.
that's-
And I'll wait to hear back, but I will take a stab at editing those and bring those back in July.
Love it.
Great.
I didn't feel like there was anything missing here. I didn't jump out at me. I was like, oh, we've been talking about this thing that's not here.
Yeah, the only thing I thought is that hopefully in July we can take one of them out.
That's true. That's true.
Downtown?
Yeah, well,
That would be the only,
hopefully we can
Right
take
there.
that out and
That's right.
say it's
Big old
done.
X.
We're close. I guess if we do take downtown drainage out, we may decide to put if the board agrees and the board thinks it's a good idea, the public safety building. might be the thing that kind of slots in as a
Good idea.
major project.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anything else on strategic priorities?
Just thinking Ann's went to a lot more stuff.
Oh, yeah, she's going to
Signature
definitely-
file. Yep, let's get that
And,
signature file
You have
finished.
a non-public as well,
Oh,
Yes. Yeah,
okay?
but
signature file,
I'm ready. All right.
let's do it.
So this is for 9 LaCourse Street. They had applied for an abatement, and the assessor is recommending denial, as their assessment appears to be at current market value. This one here is 52 Texas Hill Road. Again, they applied for an abatement for 2023, and the recommendation of the assessor is to deny it. I'm going to say that probably 100 times. But
No, please tell me it's not 100 times.
yeah, okay. This one is for 34 High Street.
no, you did not.
The owner
I'm going to do it for you. I'm only kidding.
So the owner applied for an abatement on January 16th and then came back and said, I guess I can withdraw my abatement, and that application was withdrawn on March 5th, so that just kind of closes that abatement out. That's denial. The owner of 22 Brookside Drive filed for an abatement. Let's see. The abatement applies to the value of the property is the entire property, not just particular discrepancies in the land value calculations. So important overall, the abatement is being requested to be denied. This is another 12 LaCourse Street. Let's see. The overall condition of the home was a concern. There is already a significant adjustment on the condition of the home. Therefore, no further adjustments are recommended, and the abatement is recommended to be denied. The next one is 69 Reservoir Road. When the application was put in for the abatement, it was for land only. And you can't, the assessment of the property is valued at the entire parcel, not just land. It's recommended that that abatement be denied as well. This one is 15 Steel Road. The taxpayer did not provide any information regarding their opinion of market value, comparative sales, or similar properties, or their assessments. The abatement process requires all of that to be put together. Recommended that the abatement be denied. This is an application 82 Texas Hill Road. The abatement application contained information related to overall condition and layout of the home. After review of other homes of that area and value, it was recommended that the abatement be denied. And this is not unusual to have a number of abatements after a revaluation. So just let you know it's not something new. This one is for 7 Allen Avenue.
So how was this information communicated back to the person asking?
They receive a copy of your letter.
Okay, oh,
all
they
right?
do, okay.
And then they receive the assessor's recommendations. And what they can do is after July 1, or the board has until July 1 to respond to them. If they still don't agree, they can go to either Superior Court, or they can go to the Board of Tax and Land Appeal, New Hampshire, so it's their choice.
Does that happen often, that they take it that?
I want to say not often. It's usually the big companies that we see that go to the BTLA, and like Walmart and places like that. 7 Allen Avenue, let's see, the taxpayer did not provide any other information regarding their opinion of market value, just that they thought that they were overassessed. Abatement to be denied. 24 Brookside Drive. The abatement application contained a statement of their opinion of the value. The taxpayer did not provide any other information regarding their opinion of market value nor comparative sales or other similar properties, just that they were overassessed. Denied.
Okay.
99 Morse Road.
Someone else.
The taxpayer did not provide any information regarding their opinion of market value, comparative sales, or similar properties and their total assessments. The abatement process relates to the value of the entire property. Without important overall information, it's recommended the abatement be denied. And the last one that I have here is 8 Route 25 and 14 Route 25. The abatement application contained very limited information stating that the taxes are too high and they haven't had any major upgrades, therefore they don't understand why there's an increase in their property. When the town, of course, because of the reval of 2023, therefore the abatement is being recommended to be denied.
Is that my application?
That everyone, no, so there are 2 applications here, so make sure that you hit both of them if you would. How'd I do, Scott?
Very good,
Got right through.
very good.
So the ones that say the taxpayer didn't provide, or most of them, any other information, they can't come back to us at this point or with, here's my more information.
No, they would have to apply to the BGLA.
Okay.
And they would have to prove that
Okay.
we, it's, the onus is on the taxpayer
Sure,
to present reasons for an abatement.
right.
You can't, you shouldn't say, because I'm overassessed and my taxes are too high.
Are they advised of that out of?
That's what the application says that they have to do.
Okay, it does.
They have to
So
provide.
evidence would be more like.
My neighbor's house
comparables.
sold.
Yeah, so they
Yep.
would just be like, hey, these 3 houses sold around me and you've got me priced
Yep.
20% higher than anything is sold in my neighborhood.
Right.
But they would have to provide that information.
They would have to provide, I mean, we did our due diligence by doing the
By setting the
revaluation,
initial,
coming up with an
right.
assessment. It's
Right.
up to them now to prove that that assessment is incorrect.
Did you get that, Bill?
Next year.
Is that what you said? Yeah.
When he's not on the board, he says.
Oh,
I'm still going after my old age abatement.
You're waiting for old age abatement?
You're getting rich working for the town and the state.
right.
That's true too, yeah.
There were a few comments about people's income on those. And I've asked Terry that if she does see those statements, that when she replies to them, that she also gives them a copy of an elderly exemption that they can apply for next year. I don't know where they are, you know, it's not
Right.
my place to.
Unusual amount of abatement requests.
Not after a reevaluation.
We have about 85,
85,
Without the reevaluation, you probably wouldn't get all these.
absolutely
probably
not.
get 10 maybe.
Well, that's cool you put in that.
But the good news is, instead of being the 10th highest
Yeah.
tax community in the state of New Hampshire, based on the reevaluation in the budget this year and the new tax rate, we've dropped to number 68.
Holy crap.
I don't think anybody's gonna feel better about that.
I don't know. I
They
did.
will when they get the December tax bill.
So we're
Right.
not number 1 anymore?
We're not number 10.
Used to be like number 2.
We were number 1 at one
Yeah,
point.
number 1 then.
We haven't been number 1 in
You
a
don't
while.
wanna be
No,
number
it's been a
one.
while.
Claremont has held number 1 pretty solidly for a long time. All right, that's it. Anything else for signature file review?
Nope.
All good? All right, let's do some committee reports. Plymouth Village Water
Got
and
nothing.
Sewer.
Jeez.
Nada.
Nada.
Neil's got a lot of signing still to do, so I'm going to skip you on planning board and come back to you. Campus Community Council.
I left my
Nada.
notebook at home with all my detailed notes.
Did you say nada?
Nada.
Nada.
None.
Plymouth School District
Next week.
next week. Conservation
I
Commission?
can remember some of them.
All right, Conservation Commission met on 5/21. They talked about their budget being basically static, and they very proud of $25 with interest. They talked about the Oxbow project and their portion of the appraisal fee being $3,500. They talked about an amount to turn back to the town, which I'm sure Ann is well aware of. They wanted to make sure that they didn't give back before they knew what any of the legal fees that they might be subject to on that project. Let's see. Trails Committee reported that they had 12 people show up for their trail maintenance day back in May, which was good. Gotta take this off. They did some work on the Henry and Rainbow Falls trails, the Glove Brook Trail, and they also did a little bit of work on some of the non-sanctioned trails that are used by the mountain bikers. On communications and outreach, they talked about putting out a post about pollinators and a reminder to the board members that they need to submit their bios for publication on their site. And additionally, they talked about their $765 ArcGIS license that is up for annual renewal. They did an extensive report out on the planning board, mostly on the Hilton Suites event, a little bit on the Yetton Road development, that it's on hold because there are some water concerns I think the DES had. They did talk also about the Fairgrounds Road development and sidewalks. And they were, and I'm not really sure on this because I hadn't heard this, they were talking about Smith Bridge getting some major upgrades, and I was like, it didn't sound real to me.
Talking
so.
about the road or
No, the bridge itself.
bridge itself?
Yeah, I was like, no, but
We haven't been notified of anything with regards
yeah, I
to
was,
any.
It's not the world's strongest, but the
Doesn't the
nation's
state-
strongest bridge.
yeah, I thought so too.
There's nothing wrong with the bridge.
I didn't think so either. Maybe I misheard something. I don't know, but
The state owns it.
Mm-hmm.
and that pretty much sums it up.
All right. Nothing yet on capital improvement. LRPC?
The annual meeting's coming down the pike. I think it's the 14th or something. I was trying to look at it on my calendar. And also, we have an executive committee meeting on the 12th of June where we'll find the award of the new executive director, which we pretty much already know, but we're not communicating. And that's pretty much it.
Parks and Rec, Ted?
No report.
Parking Committee and Economic Development.
Trying to look when our next meeting is, do you remember?
I don't think we have a date
Okay,
yet.
I didn't think so.
John is in the, excuse me, John is in the process of setting a date,
Okay, yeah, good.
I think for the month of August,
Oh, okay,
before the students come back.
gotcha.
Energy Commission?
I'm trying to remember. I went home after Concord and got a call saying we're at the door. You know, come on, unlock the door. So I had to drive down, and then I kind of blew off the whole meeting in my mind. So, but anything new on that? Have you
Just
heard from?
the solar array project is moving forward. The entire survey has been done, it's been staked out, a temporary driveway has been put in. So work will start shortly.
And that was a necessity in order for us to capitalize on getting a grant.
Right.
But
And I mean, out of the gracious of his heart, Colin went over and mowed that field
good.
for them on 2 occasions so that it could be surveyed. Did a great job. They were very appreciative of Colin's efforts of going over there and taking care of that. And Colin has designated a portion of the parking lot where they'll be able to store some supplies that they'll be using over at the solar array.
What's the long-term mowing plan there?
I'm sorry.
What's the long-term plan for mowing over there?
That was something that Grace and Ted were supposed to come up with, and I haven't heard of anything yet.
Can I be excused for a minute?
Sure. You okay?
Is there an opportunity to combine some of these mowing efforts in town so that we could use maybe the Parks Department to do some of it? That way we don't have to buy extra mowers.
We went out, so we have certain properties that are mowed by a third-party vendor,
Okay.
and Jesse just went out to RFP for that with regards to mowing, shoveling, and plowing services that we contract out. We submitted a RFP out and received bids back, and based on the bid we got back, we were able to reduce the overall cost by about $5,000.
Okay, excellent.
So I think we could certainly add that to part of the mowing that this third-party contractor does as well.
Excellent.
Is it a third-party contractor who mows the airport?
No, Colin mows the airport.
Colin mows the airport.
Yep. And we were able to purchase him a new mower last year through the ARPA funds that were left over. So he has a brand-new John Deere mower out there that he can do it in
Why he likes
He's
to
minimal
do
amount of
it.
time.
He's happy.
Well, I was just wondering, also there is, given that the proximity to the airport is right there, maybe this is a case where we allocate a few extra dollars, whatever is fair, to the airport so they can do the mowing.
Since they're right there.
Yeah.
And I know Colin's been very, very accommodating.
He's got a new John Deere.
Let's reward that accommodation by giving them extra work.
That's how it works.
Anything else from Energy Commission? Advisory Budget Committee, no report. PSU negotiations is not valid right now. Chamber of
Haven't
Commerce.
had one since last time.
Okay, no news. Perlac.
I was going to let Neil know because he just left, but there's actually a meeting that's going to occur in 5 minutes at the library. So
Maybe that's who's calling him.
so he's out of here. But we also have Volunteer River Assessment Program, VRAP, and our second VRAP testing on the PEMI North is tomorrow. We're being active.
Julie's car broke down. She asked me to go and get her. Can I be excused from the meeting?
Sure.
So we get gavel them
Permission
out.
granted.
Make her walk.
Granted.
You have to take a vote.
Oh,
She's stuck on the road.
That's no fun.
No.
Nobody likes to be stuck on the side of the road. Thanks, Neil.
Good night.
Police and Fire Building Assessment Committee, we did meet 2 weeks ago?
Yep.
2 weeks ago? Yeah.
we have another meeting next Thursday.
Yeah.
The meeting next Thursday. We've got some interesting options to discuss soon.
Did you say that again? I'm sorry.
We have some interesting options to discuss soon.
He's talking to you.
That's it.
Interesting options to discuss and possible grant opportunities.
Oh, I hadn't heard the latter part. That's,
Okay. I found those today,
that's,
which might be part of a November submittal of a grant that we want to submit for.
that's great. Yeah, I think it's a big project, so finding some grant funding to help support it would be really good. Yeah. Due to the sort of real estate negotiation nature, I'm not going to talk anymore about that particular topic in public because it is a valid non-public topic, so we'll just kind of hold that for, if you all have questions about that, we can certainly talk about it in non-public, but there's some talk. No union negotiations at the moment. In the absence of Neil, I know many of you watched the planning board. Do you want,
I think the two hot topics that were at the planning board meeting, the last meeting, was the Crescent Street conversation, which John will be attending our June 10th meeting. And the second was the Hilton Suites Hotel, where there was several comment. As a follow-up to that conversation, next Thursday at 5 o'clock, the planning board will be doing a site visit out on Smith Bridge Road to view the site, the intersection, and the associated conversation that takes place. They'll come back here and hold their regular meeting at 6:30 with regards to that. And then the other piece associated with Tenny Mountain, Smith Bridge Road, is the letter that was crafted by the Board of Selectmen, was sent to Director Cass at New Hampshire DOT, Senator Prentice, as well as local legislator and representatives and the executive council. That
have we
letter-
heard anything from any of those recipients?
Not as of yet. It was just mailed out last Wednesday, I think, so we haven't heard anything back yet.
I haven't received my letter, but was it sent to the State House perhaps, or?
You did not get one because you were an author of the letter as well.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Seems odd to mail yourself a letter.
We can get you a copy.
But that's kind of an update from the planning board of what was discussed at their last meeting. Like I said, a follow-up meeting next Thursday, June 6th at 5 o'clock and 6:30.
Was there anything from the public hearing in relation to the Smith Bridge Road Hotel that was new? Did anybody bring forth anything that was?
I think it's the same theme as what's been discussed previously with regards to the concern of the intersection, concern of the traffic, and concern from the property owner that is adjacent to where the new hotel would be built. The same theme continued during that meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
If you haven't watched that video, you should.
Yeah.
I found there were several aspects of a couple of the conversations that I was not aware of that better inform my view and how I feel about both. Even though it's a little long.
It's a 3 a.m. watch.
That's because you're up at 3 a.m.
And if you really want to get back to sleep, it does
That would
seem
be
like
the-
a good option.
Are you up at 3 a.m.?
Yeah.
I find myself getting up at 3 a.m. too. It's like annoying as all hell.
So now you have something to
call.
watch.
Yeah. Hey, Scott, yep.
Go get a coffee somewhere if we
Well, my wife would be happy.
Hey, Bill,
Get the
turn
coffee
on
grinder
this
going and stuff.
riveting discussion.
All right. Any other committee reports? Public comments.
Public has no comments, except it's a good meeting.
As always, thank you.
All right, a motion to enter non-public in accordance to RSA 91-A:3, number 2, A through E. All of the above.
All of the above. Wow.
Second.
Must be.
Sorry.
We got a busy after hours here.
I gotta take off the Perlac. I'm sorry.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
All ayes.
Hold on, let me just. Maybe.